Hey guys, we are here to talk today about AR-15s and kind of customizing them, building them. Maybe you just bought your first AR-15 and you want to do some stuff to it, or maybe you're building your first AR-15 and you want to kind of look at some different options, or maybe you just like to look at guns like we do. So here are a few of our builds and a few things that we've bought and customized. And we are going to kind of talk about some different things you can do to them, why you might want to do them, some of the pros, some of the cons of doing them. And yeah, so first off, nothing you see here on the table is ultra expensive or exotic. These are just some different builds that we had laying around that we wanted to show you guys that are, most of them are kind of budget friendly. Some of them aren't, some of them are, but these are just some different options. These are not the best guns in the world, but there's some cool points to a lot of these guns. So we're gonna kind of cover those. And like I said, maybe just give you some food to thought for what you wanna build on your AR-15 when you start piecing it together. Because honestly, that's one of my favorite parts of the AR-15. It's kind of like the adult Lego collection, a Lego set, because you can customize it and do whatever you want with it. And I'm going to kind of show you how to do that. So let's jump into it. A lot of people are intimidated to build their own AR because they know that they think there might be a lot of things to it that they don't understand or they can't do. Maybe they don't have the tools for it or whatever. I'm telling you, if I can build an AR, anybody can. For me, I learned a lot about AR-15s when I decided to build one, and I'm really glad I did. I'm not extremely mechanically sound. My friend Adam would tell me that I'm not at all. You know, how I got into this, a lot of information is on YouTube. You already know that, you're on YouTube. But that's how I got into building lower receivers. I actually bought 2 lowers, didn't even know what to do with them. And I actually went out and found a YouTube video by a guy, his screen name or username is NSZ85. And I'm going to post him in the description or on the screen here for you to see. But that's a lower build that I've used multiple times when I first was getting started on how to build these things. For me, building a lower receiver, you know, we're just talking about the lower, it's pretty simple, and you don't need that many tools. Now, the more tools you have access to, if you have access to a vise, if you have access to a mag block that goes up in here, there's a punch set. There's a bunch of things that pretty cheap, but if you have access to them, then it's going to go a lot smoother. And yeah, you might get a little frustrated with a few pieces here and there, but overall, building a lower receiver is not that big of a deal. And then you can buy a complete upper. Okay, so you can buy a complete upper, and building the lower, though, is not that hard. The only thing I will warn you about is be careful. It becomes very addicting. Very addicting because you can do so much stuff to them. You want to build so many different rifles. And so building is a lot of fun, but it may hurt your wallet. So caution, beware. On pricing, what we figured out is minus optics. We're going to talk about what it costs to get these guns in the condition they're in. Now, they have different stuff on them, but generally it's going to be cheaper to build the exact rifle you want rather than buy something else and put different pieces on there. Okay, and here's an example. This is a DPMS Oracle that we took a bunch of stuff off, my buddy Mike did, and put different things on there. Okay, this rifle as it sits without optics is around $1,000. This is built from the ground up, and this gun, as it sits without optics, without flashlight, is going to run you about $800. So that's finding, you know, the best prices on all this stuff. Same with that. Okay, this is not the cheapest build at all. Okay, none of these guns I've shown you has been my cheapest build. I've built guns for around $450. Okay, and you can go buy an AR right now for around $500 as well. So generally cheaper to build, not always the case, but if you're looking for cheap, that's the way I would go. Okay, so up first is we have a custom build that I built from the ground up myself. So here's kind of what I built this rifle for, what I had in mind. I wanted to be a little bit good at everything, and I want it to be kind of my crap hits the fan, you know, SHTF rifle. First, if you're gonna build and you don't really know where to start, for me, I chose the lower receiver. It just is kind of the heart and soul of the build. And also keep in mind, you buy a lower parts kit, it comes with everything you need on the lower. Takedown pins, the safety selector, trigger most of the time, mag release, bunch of different stuff. But you can always go back and update the trigger. I have a drop-in trigger here from ALG Defense. If you're going to start upgrading your AR, that's one of the first things that I would recommend. And ALG makes some good stuff. But also have some anti-roll pins, anti-walk pins on there. And then I would normally put on a buffer tube and stock. I have my little paracord stock here from Mission First Tactical, and it's a really light stock. I love this stock. I would highly recommend this stock. I did a terrible job of paracording it, but I have a few feet of paracord here, and then I would go with the upper receiver, or the whole upper. You can normally buy an entire upper, but then I would kind of go from there. We have a Umbrella Corporation U23 or something like that grip, which I love. It's a little bit more straight up and down, really nice. We also have a Vortex Strike Fire 2 red dot. So what this is there's no magnification at all, but it just has a little tiny red dot that you can kind of put on your target that they can't see, but you can. It makes shooting a little bit faster, a little bit easier. I also have a stainless steel barrel, okay, which is good for a lot of different things. It's a little bit heavier, but the lifetime of the barrel should be really long. That's at least from what I've heard. Okay, so my barrel should last me a long time. A couple other cool things on this weapon is the muzzle brake, which is a lot of fun because this thing will shoot the gases out to the sides and up top, kind of keeping your gun in line a little bit easier. You don't get so much felt recoil, which not that recoil on AR-15 is that bad, but this kind of keeps you shooting a little bit faster. That muzzle brake's pretty cool. I've got a Troy Alpha battle rail is what these are called. Keep this in mind. If you're going to change out your rail, not all guns are going to have a low profile gas block, which is sitting right back here. I don't know if you guys can see it, and some of the ones, if you bought one in store, it may not come with that. It may come with a post gas block or a bigger one. So that's something that you need to replace, and then your gas tube should work. You just put the rail on over the low profile gas block, good to go. I have a Magpul XL200 light on here, which is awesome. So I wanted something with easy to find batteries. That's why I went with this AAA powered flashlight. Plus it's got a bunch of cool different settings. It's a mag light, so it's gonna last. So that's why I went with the Maglite XL200, but there's a lot of other options out there, Surefires, and I mean, there's a million different ones that are just as good, but that's why I chose this. So one thing that I would recommend, for me, this is kind of like a survival rifle type idea, and so I never wanted to not have optics. I never wanted to not have sights, I should say. And so what I have is I have a red dot that I can use anytime I want, whatever, but let's say for whatever reason it breaks or the battery's dead. This is called Co-Witness, where I can pop up these iron sights just by pressing on those. And these iron sights pop up. I can see through the red dot my iron sights. If you're defending your life or your family or your house or whatever, I would highly recommend having backup sights so that you never have that problem. You know, scopes or red dots can get broken, iron sights can get bent or whatever. It's always good to have a few different options. The other thing that I've done on this rifle is I have an upgraded charging handle here. It just means that the latch is a little bit bigger, which makes it a little bit easier to grab onto and load that next loaded round or whatever you're doing. And the last thing on here is I have a Fail Zero bolt carrier group, okay? And I've had great success with these, as they are called, Fail Zero. I've not had any issues with my Fail Zero, especially if you keep it lubricated and cleaned. I highly recommend those. But yeah, this is just kind of a good overall build. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's a sweet shooter, and love this thing. Okay, second gun up. This is a build that I was kind of doing for this channel. It's kind of my cheap 3-gun AR that I'm building. Right now it's rocking a Firefield 1 to 4 power scope. The field of view is not the best, but what I have on the side, as you can see right here, is my cantered iron sights. So if I wanted to leave my scope on 4 power, if something happens to my scope, I've got my cantered iron sights as backup. What cantered iron sights are, they're just iron sights to the side. And I sighted them in so they're sighted in perfectly, so I can switch really easy by just tilting the gun just from here to here. And now I've got a scope, I've got iron sight, scope, iron sight. I can go back and forth pretty quick. So that's a pretty cool feature of this gun that you guys might be looking for. Another thing, I have a fixed Magpul stock, which these MOE fixed stocks are really good value. They're like 30 bucks. But the reason that I put this on there was because if this gun is designed for like 3-gun, I kind of wanted something fixed. I kind of could get planted, nothing would move. It's a little bit more stable. So that's kind of why I went with this. Not that collapsible stocks are bad, they're good for different situations, but for me, this kind of felt pretty good. And maybe you guys want to try these out, but it's pretty nice. This one is rocking a MOE SL Magpul grip. And what SL means is it's their slim line. and it's a very light. So if you're trying to build a light gun, these are pretty popular. But honestly, not my favorite personally, the SL line. I just think it's too thin. I can't, get as good of a grip on it as the other things. They did a good job texturing it, but it's just a little too thin for my taste. You're probably looking at the lower receiver going, what the heck is that? Well, it is a Ghost lower receiver, and they are out of Florida. And have I had any reliability issues? No. I've not put a ton of rounds through this one yet. I just finished building it a few weeks ago. It's very lightweight for an aluminum receiver, and it's got all these cool little holes in it that you kind of see what's going on. So this is a loaded mag. I'm not going to load a round. This is a see-through mag from Lancer. These are awesome, by the way. Goes in there, and you can kind of see the rounds all the way through there, which I thought was pretty cool. And I wanted to keep the weight down on this gun, so there's very little on here that is going to be extra. Like I said, this doesn't even have a forward assist that pushes the bolt all the way up to the barrel. Some people like those. They're great for some situations, but for me, for as lightweight as I wanted, it doesn't even have a dust cover, anything like that. This thing is bare bones, just for competition use. Pretty much the Cannon iron sights are the only thing on it. It has a ultimate rifle build handguard. And this thing's been good. It's not the most highest quality, but it was also very price conscientious. Like I said, this is a budget build. And yeah, so this gun has been sweet so far. Just kind of got to put it through its paces and find out some more about it. All right, so this is a rifle build that my buddy Mike put together. It started life out as just a stock DPMS Oracle. He bought that, he wanted to upgrade it, and now it's kind of sitting as you see. This is maybe for somebody that has just bought their first AR or maybe trying to upgrade theirs. This is kind of what you can turn it into. I think Mike did a really good job of matching. He's got the Hogue, like I said, the Magpul pieces that kind of balances each other out with the black and the flat dark earth. So I think it turned out really well. It looks good. It's got some different stuff on there, but it's got some really cool functional stuff as well. For one, it's got the Trijicon ACOG, which is a really nice optic. He's got the iron sights underneath it just in case anything happened to his ACOG, which nothing ever really happens to those, but it's got the ACOG, it's got the backup iron sights, and then he's got the Hogue oversized or rubber grip stock on here, which is very nice rubber all over it, which is pretty cool. Really nice stock. I kind of like these. A little expensive, but very nice. And then the MOE Plus grip, okay? I'm going to talk more about this kind of in a second, but these MOE Plus grips are really nice if you're looking for something with a rubberized, textured feel that's soft, but it's got a lot of grip. These things are great. I really like these, and I have these on a few of my guns, but he put this on there, and this flat dark earth looks pretty cool and feels great. So highly recommend those. They're about 23 bucks at the store normally. Moving on down the gun here, he has the Magpul angled foregrip, which is kind of cool. Kind of gives you something to pull towards you. So here we have the Fang high-speed shooting stabilizer, and what this thing is used for is if you wanted to jam this up against a door. It's also kind of used as a hand stop, so your hand doesn't go too far over the handguard. But it's a pretty cool little thing. We need to do some more testing on it, but we used it a little bit the other day, and it works pretty well. So if you want something that you can bang up against a table or a door or a wall or whatever, and get some, kind of use it as a tripod or a bipod, whatever, the Fang kind of works pretty well for that. So really cool little thing, and kind of putting it through its paces. Moving back on the end of the rifle, you're probably wondering what that is. Well, that is a Falcon 37 Habu advanced charging handle, okay? Kind of like a slide on a handgun. You can grab it and just kind of pull it straight back, okay? So it's a little bit easier for some people to grab. You just kind of put your hand up there and get a good handful of it, right? And so we're kind of testing it on this particular stock. We've had a few issues with it rubbing up against this Hogue stock because it's so big with that rubber. But with some other stocks, it worked a lot easier. But we're probably going to do a full review of some different stuff on this rifle. The internals are still the same, but all this stuff was pretty cheap because he would just buy a piece here or there and kind of made it his own. And like I said, that's one of the best parts of owning an AR. This isn't how yours has to look, but you can pretty much turn it into whatever you want. What we have here is my AR-15 sniper rifle. Okay, that's kind of what I built this in mind with, was long range. And no, I'm not a long-range shooter. I'm not a long-range competition shooter. I am novice, intermediate at best, okay? Just getting my feet wet into some longer stuff, but I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. And so This is what I built this for, was kind of doing some longer range shooting. And what I've put on it, okay, you'll notice a few things on it. For one, we have the same Magpul fixed stock because, like I said, when you're doing long range shooting, I feel like you want a solid platform that's not going to have a lot of moving pieces. So I put that same MOE fixed carbine stock on the back. Okay, Magpul regular MOE grip, and I also have a ALG Defense trigger in here that's awesome with anti-walk, anti-roll pin. And then this is where, if you're trying to build something with a little bit more long range, if you want to shoot this thing, you know, kind of stretch it out there, this is where it matters, is the barrel, right? The barrel and maybe the bolt carrier group, or maybe the trigger. That's going to be kind of the most important stuff, the trigger and the barrel, in my opinion. But what I've put on here is I put on here a 223 Wild, okay? Which all that means is that it shoots 223 and it shoots 5.56 very well, best of both worlds. And it is a 1 in 9 twist rate barrel. And I believe I got this from Sprinta barrels. I can't remember where I got it, but something like that. And it is spiral fluted, looks good, also works fantastic. It has been very accurate for the few hundred rounds that I've put through there. And I've got the compensator here on the end. And then the optics, right? Who, you know, if you have a rifle that can shoot 500 yards, but you can't see 500 yards, what's the point? So what I put on here, and I've been very happy with it, is this Nikon P223 scope. Okay, and I believe it is a 3 magnification up to 9 magnification P223, and I believe I got this for around $170 on Amazon. For a budget build, this has been a great scope, and I really like it. This thing with the bipod that just flips down, and it can also extend. You push these, and this kind of extends out here, so you can have, you know, kind of whatever situation you're in, you can kind of make the bipod work for you. But between the bipod, between the fixed stock, the barrel, the optics, this thing has been a lot of fun. Built off of Anderson lower receiver, which is just kind of a common build receiver, and just a cheap upper receiver. But this thing's been a lot of fun. It is not the nicest rifle in the world. No, I don't shoot 1,000 yards with it, but man, this thing is a lot of fun. And so if you're looking to build something a little bit more long range, this thing is awesome. Okay, so this rifle was built with one thing in mind, and that is lightweight. I built this rifle with my wife in mind, something that she could use and throw around really easy, but honestly, I don't know if she's shot it once yet. Okay, one thing, like I was been talking about those other things with the fixed stocks on those other guns, this has a collapsible stock. This is what most AR-15s have. The only difference is that this can be set long, or it can be set really short for those taller or shorter shooters, or long arms or short arms, whatever. So these are great for if you want to kind of tailor the gun to your size. But this is, I believe it's a CAR, a car type stock, and they're very light. This thing only weighs a few ounces, and so that's why I put this on here. I have a titanium castle nut, a titanium pistol screw, a few different titanium low profile gas block from V7, I believe, is on here. And so, like I said, everything is lightweight. For one, you're probably looking at that crazy looking grip on there. Well, my buddy Adam actually made that for me out of a stock A2 grip. He filed down the knuckle there, and he obviously kind of cut the sides out. It looks crazy, but it actually feels pretty good because he did some stippling on the sides, and you can actually still get a pretty good grip on it. It's not for everybody, but for what I was trying to build, he helped me get my gun under 5 pounds, so I appreciate that. And this is built off a polymer, not aluminum, not billet. This is built off a polymer FMK lower receiver, okay? So I don't know if this is probably the roughest, toughest build in the world. You know, I've seen some torture tests out there. These things are pretty tough, but it's not for everybody, like I said. But for what I was trying to build, it worked. And polymer upper receiver, okay, which is crazy. I know this is, I believe this is an American Tactical upper receiver, and as you can see, I've got nothing on here, trying to keep it lightweight. Got a tiny little 9-inch handguard on here. The two biggest things that saved weight was the bolt carrier group, which has been thinned out. This is, I got this from Sunny State Tactical, I believe, for about 123 bucks. It's a lightweight bolt carrier group, and then I have a lightweight barrel on here. A very thin pencil barrel, okay, with it actually gets bigger to fit the gas block. That's how small this thing is. And it weighs very, very little, okay? I don't even have a muzzle device or a compensator or anything on there. I just have a thread cap. So this thing weighs about 4 pounds and 12 ounces unloaded, and this thing is awesome. For being as light as it is, it can still get the job done, and this thing is just kind of a cool little gun that I take to the range, and hopefully my wife will enjoy it one day. Another cool, cheap way to customize your gun, no matter what you've done to it, is magazines. And yes, there's some different brands. We're gonna do some different torture tests on magazines in an upcoming video. But just to kind of talk about the customization of your AR, there's a lot of different brands out there. These are 3 really good brands from what we've seen, and we're gonna do a video on these, like I said. But you can kind of customize these to how your gun looks. So for one, we have a Lancer. I believe it's called a L5. And this is a clear or translucent smoked magazine. And it's pretty cool because you can see the rounds in there. Here's a loaded one where you can kind of see the rounds in that magazine. These are great mags because they're polymer, but they also have the steel lips, and that kind of makes your gun kind of stand out a little bit. Here's a hex mag, a flat dark earth hex mags. These are really good as well. But if you have a flat dark earth gun or looking for that flat dark earth little colorization, these are great. And then also those MOE Magpul. I love the ones with the window to see how many rounds you have. This is a Gen 3, I believe, or yeah, Gen M2 window one. And these are really good as well. But don't forget about the magazines. These are cheap. I mean, these are like 15 bucks, 12 bucks, 15 bucks. Great, cheap way to customize your gun. Okay, so now let's talk about pistol AR-15s. This is technically a AR-15 pistol, and the reason why is because the length of the barrel. Okay, there are certain legal things that the barrel has to be a certain length. This is called a pistol build. So check your local laws for what you can build in your area. Okay, but this has a, I believe, a 7.5-inch barrel. I bought this upper from Harden Arms. There is nothing wrong with this. I've had a really good experience with this upper on this Anderson lower that I built this on. It's got this scorpion rail on here, which is kind of cool, and it is rocking. If you're looking, you're like, what the heck is that? That is a KAK or CAC Industries flash can that kind of redirects the sound so it doesn't sound quite as loud to the shooter. And it also keeps me from sliding my hand up past this tiny little handguard and blowing my digits off. Okay, so I'm rocking those same Magpul backup iron sights that go through my Bushnell red dot here, and this has been a really good little gun. This thing is so much fun. I'm telling you, these pistol builds are awesome because you get a lot in mobility and you save a lot in weight, but you're really not giving that much in accuracy up to a certain point. So this is one of my favorite builds. This thing is great. This is actually one of my home defense guns. It was for a while, but it has a Shockwave stabilizer brace back here. This is not a stock. It's a stabilizer brace, okay? Looks like a stock, it's not. I don't know how you use yours, and you can use it however you want. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not gonna give you legal advice, but it's made to be used as a stabilizing brace on your forearm, okay? But it works great for what I use it for, and it's been a lot of fun, and this thing has been one of my favorite builds. But guys, pistol builds are awesome. So I highly recommend looking into that because they're so easy to put into your car, maybe used for home defense. You can get through your house easier. If you're getting in and out of a vehicle, or if you're keeping it in a trunk, these things are really cool and a lot of fun. So highly recommend looking into a pistol build. Okay, this is my friend Adam's budget pistol build. He kind of built this with some different spare parts that he had laying around. He had a lower laying around. I gave him the upper. He had a few different pieces that he just kind of had laying around, so he built this AR-15 pistol. And what's cool about this one, he's got a nice little key mod rail on here. And I know he's not quite done with it. He's got a few more things he's doing. He's got just a cheap little red dot on here that I think he got from Gander Mountain. He loves this thing. He said that's been great. Maybe we'll do a review on that later. But Harden Arms receiver and short little, I believe it's a 10-inch barrel. I could be wrong about that. Yeah, it looks like a 10-inch barrel. Built on an Anderson lower. And he's got the same Magpul MOE Plus grip with that rubberized texture on there that grips really well. It's in that cool urban gray or whatever they call it. And on the back of this AR-15, he has the Phase 5 Hex 2 cheek rest, okay? So this is padded. This is some nice little foam rubber. You put that up to your cheek. You'll kind of see him using that in the video. You don't shoulder it. You put it up to your cheek. And he seems to really like that thing. It looks pretty cool. So that might be something you might be interested in. Also, I think his niece or nephew got a hold of some crayons and jammed them in the safe and fire there, so that looks pretty cool. And yeah, so this is a cool little pistol build, just another one, some different options on here. The other thing is, one thing I love about a lot of these grips, I don't know if you guys can see this, but a lot of these grips actually have a little compartment in here, the Magpul ones, that you can open up and you can store different things in there, like some Nagant revolver rounds or whatever you might need, some Skittles if you're getting low on energy, or beef jerky. So a lot of different things you can do with that grip. But yeah, just another cool little pistol build. All right, so this is another AR-15 pistol, and this thing is awesome, okay? Because this is a AR-9 from Palmetto State Armory. They built this lower receiver, and it uses Glock mags, right? Everybody loves a good Glock mag. They're cheap, they're easy to find, they're reliable. This is an AR-15 type rifle that shoots 9mm. Same controls, same feel, same almost everything from this part back and this part forward uses AR-15 parts. Same castle nut, same grip, same safety selector, same trigger. Whole bunch of different stuff. So, you know, obviously the best feature about these is it uses those Glock mags, okay? And then you can take them out and you can put them right into your Glock or vice versa, okay? So maybe you want to have the same ammo, same mags. That's what this thing's designed for. What I like about it personally is the 10.5-inch barrel that I've put on here, because I'm going to get a little bit better velocity, a little bit better distance than my, let's say, Glock 19. This is actually a Glock 22 or a Glock 26, whatever it might be. I'm going to get a little bit better velocity. I've got the same KAK flash can on here at the end. This is one thing that I learned when I was building these that I had to learn because nobody told me, was that the barrel has no gas tube or gas block attached to it, because the AR-9 uses a blowback action just like a pistol. They don't charge the next round based off gases. They use it off of the blowback action of the, you know, from the first round. So got those Magpul backup iron sights that go through my Holosun 403C solar optic, which is really a very nice little red dot that I have found. It has this solar panel right here on top that you can use batteries or solar or both or whatever. And it has that same shockwave stabilizer back here. Like I said, MOE plus grip that has some really good texture on it. I actually had this Cerakoted from a place here locally. They did the Cerakote job in burnt bronze, if you're looking for that color, burnt bronze, and it is awesome. I really like the way that it turned out. Looks really good, and I've got the Troy Alpha battle rail up here, just like my other gun. So good little pistol AR-15, and these things getting more and more popular, but I love mine. So check those out if you want to build something different. All right, so here's the last gun that we have, and this is my AR-10. I built this a few months back, and I got it Cerakoted in this cool, some people might think it's cool, some people might think it's the ugliest thing ever, this cryptic snow camo, which to me, it was just something different, just something fun that I wanted to do. This is a 308, okay, 7.62 by 5.1. That's what an AR-10 is if you're new to them. Other than, you know, most AR-15s shoot that 5.56 223 round. Well, what's really awesome about this thing is because of the way the AR-15 is, it's got so much less recoil than most 308s that you'll see. It has very little, actually. But I've got an 18-inch barrel on here, and I got a 10-inch handguard. I love this kind of vertical B5 grip on here, and just have a Magpul CTR stock. This is a PTAC lower receiver that came from Palmetto State Armory. PTAC lower parts kit, PTAC buffer tube system. This thing has been a lot of fun, hard hitting. It's pretty light for what it is, I think, because I don't have too much stuff on there, but I do have the Vortex Crossfire 2 1-to-4 power scope on there, which has been great. I mean, I know there's some people that hate Vortex out there, some people that love them. To me, this thing's been really clear, and I've really enjoyed it. Other than that, what we have on here is just a upgraded charging handle, easier to grab, which is a great addition to your AR because it's a little bit easier to get hold of that than a stock one or a factory one. But yeah, this is my AR-10, and I'm probably going to do a review on this later on. All right, guys, that wraps up our AR-15 customization video. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you saw something in here that will inspire you for your next build or customizing your rifle. We will see you guys at the next video, but before you leave, don't forget to subscribe to RMA Arms. We're going to be putting out some more content very, very soon. We're trying to give you guys some good stuff. Also, leave a comment below if you have a gun that you want us to review. We will try to review it if we get enough recommendations. And maybe if we forgot an AR-15 part or piece or something that you thought we forgot about, leave it in the comments and we'll try to take a look at it. But appreciate you guys checking us out. Subscribe, and we'll see you at the next video.